down the bow, kick off your shoes and you throw 'em on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the morning light, Louisiana Saturday night. Waiting in the
And
Hello and welcome to AGK Media. It's Hump Day, and I'm Shelley Carney.
in the moonlight, Louisiana Saturday night. Well, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow.
I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have emails to read. We got text messages, a couple of comments we got to read too. We got some voicemails, and then later on we'll open up the phone lines because everybody should have open phone lines.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Julie, huh? Julie, guess what day it is? Julie, huh? Julie. Mike, what day is it, Mike? Come on, I know you can hear me. Anybody? Huh? Woo-hoo! Mike, what day is it, Mike? Anybody? Julie, huh? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Julie, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike, what day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Hump day, hump day, hump day.
Hump day, Miss Shelley. Made it through, halfway through the week, and we're still here.
Again.
That's a good sign.
That's
huh?
right.
So we've got some news that we want to share. Let's do that first. But first,
sharing news.
Miss Shelley in the house.
Cause girls like you round other guys like me to sundown when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love and get me too. What I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah.
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 Housekeeping, you want towel?
So I know you want some towels, so here we go. Number one, don't forget to like this video. YouTube likes it when you like our videos. They actually like it when you don't like the videos. It's called engagement. It means you had to come back to the channel to do something, whether productive or not. And then we'd like you, of course, to share this with your family, significant others, friends, members of your neighborhood, your business associates, and anybody on your social networks. That should cover it. Did I miss anybody?
Or you could be like the town crier, just run around the streets talking about it.
AGK Media, watch them tonight.
That's right.
Hump Day, Hoedown.
In case we forget to tell everybody
Day,
else,
Hoedown.
you can help us out with that.
And then, last but not least, if you're not already a subscriber, this would be a good time to subscribe. And that way, you'll get the opportunity to click on that notifications bell. When you click on the notification bell, that simply means every time we go live, you will know it. And you'll be able to join us and find people in our chat room that we love having around. So, do we want to talk about the rest of this week and what's happening next week?
We must do that.
Okay. Why don't you? Do you want me to start, or you want to start?
You go ahead, because I'm playing with this right now.
So for those of you in the room, and for those of you that will eventually watch this, we've made some programming decisions, some changes. And we want to share those with you. So first of all, there will be no show on Friday night. I'm traveling. As I mentioned last week, I'm taking my grandson because my daughter is in a couple of shows. And at another event, she's on a panel for a business panel to talk about using the internet for artists, right? She's really good at that. And so my grandson, Phoenix, is made it to the state finals of the National Science Fair competition. And so I'm taking the responsibility. Actually, she asked me to take the responsibility to get him down there on Friday and through the competition on Saturday, and we'll be back late Saturday evening. So we can't do a show on Friday night. Now, we considered the idea that maybe have Shelley and Cynthia do that, but we couldn't organize that. So, so we are not gonna be around Friday night. Your Friday night is free to do with what you may. Try to make sure.
Take your spouse out on a date.
Take your spouse out on a date, or stay home and.
Or watch, the rerun or the replay of The Softer Side.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We are going to do a softer side. So what's the topic for the softer side, Deborah?
The softer side is about keep sex alive. So we're going to talk about long-term relationships and how to keep the sex hot. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can play that again with your significant other on Friday night. So
Have a little glass of wine,
Little glass of wine.
popcorn, sit down, and have a little chat about sex.
glass of wine and popcorn.
Oh, yummy. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, that's the first part of it. The second part of it is that next week we're going to make some programming changes. So you don't have to pay attention to these right now. Just be aware that the changes are going to be made because we'll talk more about them next week.
We don't want anybody to get upset. You know how it is when things change.
Yeah.
People get upset.
We don't want people to get upset
That's
by
right.
by this. So we are moving both of our programming days. Well, we already use Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we wanted to
Consolidate.
disencumber that from the things that we're doing. So starting next week, our shows will be on Wednesday and Friday. On Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to do the Hump Day Hoedown.
Hump Day.
So Hump Day Hoedown will now be 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays.
That will open it up to our European visitors.
Right.
Who unfortunately don't always get to stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Exactly.
They sometimes can on Fridays, but Wednesdays it's real hard for them to do that. So we're moving it down to 1 o'clock. So our European searcher friends can
join
tune
us.
in live.
So Hump Day Hoedown, Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Then we're going to have a new show. This isn't for everyone. It is not Fenn related. And it's entitled What You Should Know. And it's going to be our take on, it's going to be a neutral take on the key highlights in the news. So that we've had a request from someone else, not a Fenn searcher, outside the community to start doing a show like this. We've decided to go ahead with it, and we're going to start next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Now, effectively, that means there may be another Fenn show that appears at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, so we're guessing that's what will happen. But this show is unrelated to the Fenn search. It's called What You Should Know, and it is a discussion in the what I'd call the key highlights of the news in the week.
Right.
And
We'll
and
cover
it
a lot
is
of different things like
and it is
politics, environmental science.
sports.
Okay. Toby will handle sports because I have no interest. I could do movie news or something. I don't know. Social stuff. I'll do the social stuff.
Anyway, we've been wanting to do this for a long time, so we're going to go ahead with it. That's what's going to happen from now on Wednesdays. Then on Fridays at 1 o'clock, we're going to move the softer side from 1 o'clock on Thursdays to 1 o'clock on Fridays. And then we'll do Friday Fandango at 7 p.m. on Fridays.
Friday
So
Fandango
so we'll
stays
have
the same.
2 Fenn shows, 1 softer side and 1 What You Should Know.
Right. So that way we have our 2 Fenn shows, one in the daytime and one at night, so we can, hit more people up with what is convenient for them to attend live. That way, you can always watch a replay, but if you want to be there live, it's nice to have those options.
Yeah. So, and this What You Should Know show is something that I've been wanting to do a long time. We finally got some interest from another party outside the Fenn community, so we decided to start producing it. Since we have, a pretty...
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here. We've got a good production facility, and we're ready to do this kind of work. So, and again, we're going to try and keep it neutral, although we are political people. This is going to be a neutral take on the news. Just if
Right, and again, we're going to enforce that no attacking of each other. So if you have a really strong opinion, Republican, Democrat, we don't want any
Independent.
fighting against each other or calling each other names or attacking. You may state your opinion, of course. Just don't use attacking language.
Right, and that's kind of how we're going to do it. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it just informational, so that the people who do have an interest in what's going on in the news will have some way to pick it up quickly and easily, and don't have to worry about whether they watch the news
We're
every
just gonna have
night,
fun.
and we are going to
It's
be
just gonna
doing
be fun.
call-ins. We are going to have
Yeah.
call-ins. The show is going to be mostly about call-ins. It's going to be we're going to have less front-end talk and more call-in talk, kind of like the radio talk show programs. Okay, I just want to hear your perspective on what we're talking about. So that's what we want to talk about. We've got the softer side tomorrow. The subject is having sex.
Having sex as much as possible.
Right.
For as long as possible.
Yeah.
Forever.
The options you can invoke when having sex. No, it's not.
Sir.
And then Friday we're not going to do Fandango because I'm not going to be in town. But next week it's Wednesday and Friday,
Yeah.
1 p.m. and
Four
7
shows
p.m.
next week.
So, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. I may even put out a short video reminder letting everybody know what we're doing next week. That starts next week. Okay. So, do we have any other news?
And I'm just going to speak to what T. Brown just said. Yeah, Toby is at heart a journalist, and he can be very, what do you call it?
Analytical.
Analytical, but
Neutral.
fair, neutral. I know that there's very left-leaning and right-leaning channels out there. We will try to be as neutral as possible because we want to invite everybody to come in and share their opinions.
Yeah, we do have our political opinions, but as a journalist, you learn that. Especially when you're doing as much work as I did for the federal government, you can't be opinionated. Shelley and I were having a conversation the other day about how conservative the intelligence community, agencies like the Department of Justice, the FBI, they tend to be very, very conservative. And I dealt with all those people for most of my career, and I don't ever remember having a conversation about our individual politics. It was all about the mission and accomplishing the mission, and politics never entered into it. And that's kind of where we want to go. We believe that it's important as Americans, we have certain rights, including the right to vote and to be informed of what's happening, and then making a decision yourself. You making that decision without, there's no reason why as an individual, why as an American, why as an educated American, you can't make that decision yourself. We just want to talk about the stories that we think are important in a journalistic way. Right. And it's going to be a conversation, and we're going to invite you into that conversation. We want you to be part of it and kind of maintain the same level of neutrality that we're going to try to maintain on the show. Okay. Let's see.
Are we ready to do an email, or the first email, and then we'll say hello to the room? Is that what you want to do?
How many of these?
How do you
We got a
wanna
lot
do
of
that?
emails.
Or do you want to say hello to the room now? We do have a lot of emails.
We do have a lot of emails. How many
Yeah.
people? Let's say hello to the room first.
Okay.
Do you want the mousy mouse?
Mousy Mouse, my turn. I'm in charge of the remote.
Okay, you're gonna have to go slide it over because it's all the way over there.
Okay. I know how to work two
Sorry.
screens.
Okay.
I have two screens at home, just like this. Okay.
Oh, and don't forget there is a stylized $sign at the bottom of your screen. That's for Super Chat.
Super
if you
Chat
think
is
we're doing a good
open.
job and you'd like to reward us for the job that we're doing,
Yeah.
click on that Super Chat button and make a donation to the project.
That's right. Because, Hump Day is all about cha-ching. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so let's get started saying hello to our friends in the chat room. We have number one, Hooli.
Yay, Hooli. She was in there right from the beginning, too.
That's right. She's ready to party. Gonna spin some tunes tonight. All right, Hooli. And Brian Eagle's in the room. Let's see. We have 23 Monarcha. 23 Monarcha. With that weird little tune that Toby put down. Da, da.
Andrea Bocelli, baby. Andrea Bocelli.
K-Pro's here.
Hey, K-Pro. Wait, did we give K-Pro? We gave K-Pro a new song, didn't we?
Confident.
Where is he? Yeah.
I like that song.
Nice. That is a cool song for her and for her too.
For everybody.
Yeah.
The Sassy one, 1962.
We have a comment from Sassy that we're going to read.
Okay, absolutely. And I enjoyed reading it already to kind of rehearse it and see what it was. And I think everybody's going to really enjoy that comment from the Sassy.
So thanks for joining us tonight, Sassy.
Yeah. Jerry Harris is here from Waco, Texas. We accidentally, I'm just going to put an end to any controversy right now. We accidentally hit the wrong button and banned K-Pro for a week. It was an accident. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't deserve to be banned. And she was very, very gracious about, letting us know that had happened, and we fixed it.
Well, it was cute because apparently she'd been trying to get in all night and finally texted me towards the end of the night. It was last Friday.
Yeah.
Texted me the other night and
Yeah.
she said, "Did you guys ban me?" It's like, nobody is paying attention to me. Like,
Sorry.
so we did accidentally. It was purely accidental. So we don't want to start any crazy rumors.
Yeah. We have AJ Rainville in the house with all of his camels. Look at that. Let's see. We have Alan Kay. Good evening.
From California.
AJ Rainville wants to know if he's winning. What is he winning?
The way I told him that he was fighting with YouTube over his camels because every time he goes beyond, I think there's
you have us on your side, so you will always win.
You will always win as long as we have we're on your side.
That's right. Okay, we have Redneck Express. We have Indulgence. Joe S. is in the house.
Don't go around tonight. Well, it's bound to take your life. There's a bathroom on the right.
Bathroom on the right.
Somebody has to do it. Rusty Nipples.
Cynthia's best friend.
Mike.
Rusty Nipples.
Donna Buckholtz. Hope your day was fabulous.
Wait.
Thank
What is
you.
he saying? Savage Undies advert before AGK.
I guess
I don't know.
that she saw an advertisement for Savage Undies.
Did you do AJ Rainville's 3 Camels? Did you approve that?
I don't remember. I approved several things.
AJ, I think it maybe do 3 Camels, and that seems to get by.
3 camels.
Mike.
Then we have
Donna.
Donna says, hope your day was fabulous. Sorry,
Let's see. I did. I bought
an apron.
I bought a red apron because when I cook, my shirts get to be a mess.
Covered in
and
splashes.
My apron, I had left it after my last house. I don't know what happened to it. So today I went to Bed Bath & Beyond and I bought an apron and I kept my shirt and tie clean because I cook in this outfit.
Sure you do. Debbie Teal is here.
Hey, Debbie. Where's Debbie?
That's fun. Okay, we have the Blaze of Glory is here.
He is here, he says.
Steve Gahagan.
Steve Gahagan's in the house.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say.
Taking it slow.
You're riding high in April and shut down in May.
And don't
Well,
forget
it's
that
April, so I
advice
guess
that
we're riding high.
Frank Sinatra gave and my father repeated. If you're ever out on a date, don't yawn, don't look at your watch, and make sure you don't take out your cell phone.
What does that got to do with this song?
I don't know. That's Frank Sinatra, isn't it?
Craig Carter's here. Happy Hump Day from
We do
Colorado.
have Craig Carter.
It's my life.
It is his life.
Now or never. And I ain't gonna live forever.
Hey, Hooli wants to know from me, do you use self-tanner? If so, brand please. Always a healthy glow. I'll tell you what, Hooli. I belong to Planet Fitness, and they have tanning as part of the package deal. So I do tanning in the tanning booth. Yes, I do that. Nobody needs to yell at me for it because I'm in there for 5 minutes, and I use something called Paint It Black on my body, and I put Jergens self-tanning on my face while I'm in the tanning booth. That's the only time I use it on my face or body is when I'm in the tanning booth, and I do that about once or twice a week. So That answers that.
Brown shoe shine.
Yeah, he goes out in the sun and gets tan because he's got that in his blood.
Yeah.
Comes out. Evan Penn. Oh, wait. Davio's here.
Davio.
I almost missed Davio. He was hiding. There we go. And then Evan Penn. And then Mosaic Mind.
What is Evan? Don't we know a journalist? Speaking of journalists, don't we know a journalist named Evan Penn?
I don't. Maybe you do.
Evan, are you a journalist? A Washington, D.C. based journalist? Oh.
Yeah. Mr. T in the house.
Capro said, I just went outside and shouted, AJK is on. Hope it helps. Yeah.
Thank you, Capro.
Yeah, it'll help get us arrested. That's what it'll...
I go, on what? Hello, everybody.
Capro
All
likes
right.
my pink tie. I do too. It's one of my favorites. Brightens things up.
Rick Plank from Cincinnati. Is
Hey,
here.
Rick.
Doug M.N. Shelley solo show. I don't think I could carry a solo show.
I don't know. I think you and Cynthia could pull it off between the two of you.
Well, if you set it up, I don't know. It's a lot of buttons to be pushing. We usually share the button pushing.
Well, you don't have to do
There's
everything.
two votes for Shelley solo show.
Yeah.
Please give Cynthia the keys to the AGK Media Castle.
Mm.
Well, I actually have the keys. So
She
I can
already,
get it.
she already has the keys.
Joel Lewicki's here.
Joel Lewicki.
But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
I think Joel hasn't found that treasure yet. At the same time, he
Haven't
has
been.
found a lot of what he's looking for. He's happily married and has kids, and I know he's got a great job, and he's a pretty happy guy. So he's found a lot of what he's looking for.
The Fenn treasure notwithstanding.
Yeah, just the Venn treasure he hasn't found yet. But maybe he'll get there. He's got everything else. Dave Hedblom,
Where do you see that?
right here.
Oh, okay.
I kind of skipped it the first time. I decided to go back and
Joel Lewicki,
swing that.
okay, agree. Wait. Cynthia the keys to yeah.
Whips and latex. What?
Wait, what?
I guess that's the show Friday
Brian
night.
Eagle. Yeah, Brian. Popcorn and wine.
Cynthia's
yeah.
in the house. She says, is the softer side word that is key chaps?
It's, well, most of the time, yes, but tonight it's sexy talk. I guess that's 2 words. Never mind. The 2 words.
I wasted away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost shaker of salt.
Looking for a salt.
Well, if nothing else, what you and Cynthia ought to do is just get together on Friday night and drink the rest of that margarita. mix.
Except I'm not drinking.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Sean Martinez is here.
Wow. Put your glass down, Tobe.
All right. Sean in the house. Haven't seen you in a while, Sean.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. Okay.
Debbie Hooley says, ugh.
T.
when-
Brown
when we
says,
said we were gonna be-
hello, Shelley. Like, hello, nurse. Like the Animaniacs.
I think when we said we were going to be on Wednesday at 1 instead of Wednesday evening, I think
So who said what?
Hooley said, ugh.
Ugh. We'll still be on Friday Fandango, Hooley.
I like the mosaic mind. I like the verb form.
Can anybody hear that helicopter going over?
Is that a helicopter?
Didn't it sound like one to you?
Yeah, it did. Sounded like a big drone.
Ryan Bates. Bitcoin, the wall, please not Smollett. Oh.
Bitcoin, the wall.
Yeah, we're not going to like rehash the
No.
things that the major news networks are already rehashing to death.
To death. Yeah, we're going to pick up the news
Wow.
stories. We're going to pick up the news stories that have
Obscure things, fun things.
that have general appeal
Yeah.
and that don't require you to go like everywhere from, oh, I'm glad that happened, to, ugh, again.
Yeah, we don't want to depress anybody. We
Yeah.
want to have fun.
We want to have fun.
So I hope to see you there.
Because
Ryan.
inside every story, there is good and there is bad, and we're looking for the good. Place of Glory. But all this time on Wednesday, I wonder how many people will lose.
Well, I
on the
tell you
side-
what,
this
our
side of the pond.
Tuesday at 1:00 show that we had for a year and a half, it did pretty well. We had pretty big numbers on it.
We expect to lose some people.
Yeah.
Blaze.
They'll be here Friday night.
We
though.
had to start making a more realistic schedule because now we were having to get together. Not that I don't enjoy getting together with Shelley, but we have things that we have to accomplish too. And we were back up to 4 days a week, and it wasn't that we didn't want to do it. It was just a matter of scheduling.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to work out a schedule that works for us as well as the things that we want to do.
Yeah. We have Daniel James from England.
Oh, Daniel, good news. We'll start doing a Tuesday 1:00 show. So
Wednesday.
I'm sorry. I know I
We
was
just
going
get
to do that.
confused everybody.
That is a chopper.
Those helicopters overhead are crazy. Distracting.
It sounds like a Black Hawk too. That's military. That's not a police helicopter. I wonder what we've done to deserve this.
It wasn't us. We didn't do it. England.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we said
so so our 1:00 show should be much easier for you to make. Than
Yeah,
this
you won't
middle
have
of
to
the night
stay.
thing.
You won't have to stay up till 2:00 in the morning to watch our show.
Paladin's here,
Oh, God, this makes
along
me feel
with
guilty.
Shane McLaughlin
Shane McLaughlin.
and Jim Siri.
Oh, he already retracted his message. That's no fun.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what that
I should have
was.
put the Restream IO up. IO?
Jim Siri's back in Michigan.
Let's see. Is the singular of chap like if you only have one leg?
Like a snake? Most people have at least part of a leg.
You know, that's why I
And then they
like.
have,
That's
like,
why I
a
like
prosthetic.
Cynthia. She's always thinking.
Always thinking
Always
outside
thinking.
the box.
You're gonna love our Wednesday night show, Cynthia.
Oh,
Meant
love call-ins. He must have said something about
love
call-ins.
calls.
that he
Oh,
took
meant.
back.
Oh, I see.
He was being nicer. Christian Turner's here. Yo.
Christian. A Christian Turner.
Do you agree politically? K-Pro wants to know. Do you agree politically? Are you of the same party? We are now. I'm going to leave it at that. Eric Schmidt's here.
Well, we do agree politically, right?
We do now.
And there was a point at which we didn't agree politically.
Yes, but that's okay. It's better now. Velvet Jenkins is here from
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga. Pardon me, boys. Is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? So we had to kind of do that.
Was they
'cause
fine?
we ran
Now
out of
they're
space.
answering her. That's known as a half chap. Cynthia.
Have a chap.
Half a chap.
Have a chap.
Shane
It's like a
must-
haypenny. A hay chap.
Halfpenny. Independent, says Brown. Christian Turner.
Go find it already, Odavio.
Christian Turner is that guy that the Romans used to use when they were torturing Christians.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, when they were on the spit. It was the
Spit. They spit on them?
Christian
Did they
Turner.
get llamas in there to spit on them?
What? Llamas?
Sex? What's that? Come on, 23 Monarcha. You're going to need to be in the chat room
Okay,
tomorrow.
23 from Monarchy. You get, so we get to that question.
And Illinois Ghost is in the house.
Hey, Rick, how are you doing?
Sax or sex? Sax is an instrument that you play, and sex is...
It's just you play.
Yeah. An instrument you play with. Space Child 422. Hello, everybody.
Wow, new one. Space
Yeah.
Child, you need to be a subscriber. Make sure you
Just
subscribe.
because.
Again. Just because. Let's see here.
I was not expecting sex. I thought you were like nice, wholesome, religious American. This from a repressed Brit.
Well, okay, so we are
There's nothing
nice,
wrong with having
wholesome.
sex during marriage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've been married almost 35 years.
To
and
the
I'm
same
still
person.
having sex with my husband, and we're going to talk about it.
And I was married a total of 20. I was married a total of 31 years to 3 different people.
And maybe loosen up a little bit, Mr. Britt.
Yeah. So, yeah, we don't talk about sex on this show.
Right. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Tomorrow on the softer side
The other show.
is adult rated.
Yes. Oh, no.
What happened there?
It did that by itself. I didn't even push the button.
Wow, we are not even close.
Okay, well, we're just saying hi. We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, I lost it.
Redneck Express.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Redneck Express. In reference to the caller last week on Thrill of the Chase, book-binding anomaly with gold and more chapters. Did you investigate? Thoughts?
I didn't investigate. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I promised to do it. Well, I promised to do it before the next show. How's that?
Apparently, Sharkman is concerned for your health. Toby, have you had the spots on your forehead and temple tested?
Yes, I have. They're free of anything. We're not a cancerous family. So, yeah, they're just age spots. Like, I'm getting them on my...
I've
I'm
got 'em
70,
too.
for God's sakes. So, I'm getting them on my hands as well.
Yeah, me too.
They're just age spots. Yeah.
Yeah. When you live in the
And-
Southwest, that happens.
I have get my health care through the VA, and I see the cardiologists every 6 months, and I see the GPs, the what do they call them, every 6 months. So I'm seeing a doctor every 3 months,
Yeah.
and they do all those kinds of checks.
But thank
so-
you for your concern.
But thank you. That's very kind of you and very thoughtful. Are you a doctor?
Robert Zelinsky is here.
Should I take this more seriously? Is that a doctor?
Shane wants to know, what have I missed for the last 4 or 5 months? Nothing.
Nothing. It's pretty much the same thing. Nobody's found the chest, and
Not
we
a
don't know
darn
where
thing.
it is either.
Yeah,
So
we're just having fun.
it's
chit-chat.
wide. You know what's interesting? You could have come into this treasure hunt in 2010, or you could have come into it last week, and we're
Nothing new.
exactly the same place. Yeah, yeah, we're exactly the same place. There's just more of us.
It's
more-
true. That's true.
More of us frustrated. Oh, by the by, hello.
by.
Is this live? By the by, if you want to send us a text message, by the by, as they say. What we were talking about the UK earlier.
I don't
Oh, the
know.
way they use their knife.
Yeah.
Use their knife and
Dinner
fork.
time.
Yeah. So if you, by
They're
the by,
smarter about how they cut and eat their food.
yeah, they do that whole
we
thing
cook
where they
better,
little
but they
catch-
eat better.
Oh, just amazing. If you want to send us a text message before we open up the phone lines, you can send a text to 866-597-9901. You'd think I would have memorized that by now. That's
everywhere.
866-597-9901.
The number is everywhere.
One more time. That's 866-597-9901. Send your text messages with questions. Okay, now the whole checking the spots has me
Dark
nervous.
Side is here.
Starting
The Sassy says she's from Indiana.
Indiana.
First concept for you, new show, do. Debbie Teal didn't finish her comment here.
Or what?
It didn't.
Do.
Yeah, it didn't finish. She must have
Rats.
hit enter accidentally.
Sassy's from Indiana, she says.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Lewicki says, Notting Shane. I don't know what that means. Let's see.
Steve Wayne here.
Wait. Christian Turner says, nice vid, Cynthia. Did Cynthia do a video that we're not aware of? Cynthia, did you do a video that we're not aware
Maybe
of?
he means when she was here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Cynthia will have to answer that burning question.
Mitzi says, politics, this will be fun. Welcome to my world. Mwah.
Mwah.
Yeah, she just thanked him for a nice video. Cynthia, is there a video that you've done that we're not aware of and haven't promoted on your behalf? Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of promotions, we'll get to the letter.
Jim Black is here from British Columbia. Squirrel. Bill Cross here from Texas.
Hey, Bill.
Greg Keller, greetings, new subscriber, and the first time catching your show live.
New subscriber, you
Awesome.
qualify for our $1,000 new subscriber award. Send me a no, I'm just kidding. I just
I'm
made
like,
that.
I want one of those.
Yeah.
And Greg Keller says, greetings. Oh, yes. And he already knows how to tag us. Look at that.
Hey.
The newbie already knows how to tag.
So let us
comments.
know
So do what he does.
if you want to make sure we read your question in the chat room. Precede your question with @AGK space media. See, Greg's already got it down.
I
pat.
know. He's awesome.
So, and he's a new
Rochester,
subscriber.
New
Didn't he
York.
just?
He's from Rochester,
And
New
he's
York.
a new subscriber. See what happens
Yeah.
when you're a new subscriber.
Look at that.
I kept commenting and nobody was responding. K-Pro, I thought we had discussed this.
Well,
We
this is what she wrote while we
apologize.
were talking about it.
Oh.
We're
I
just
see.
now getting
okay,
there.
all right.
Rich Ard saying hello to each individual. That's 132. Only the people who say something to us. Sometimes people just come in and they lurk.
So Cynthia says that she did have a video on Vimeo and YouTube under her name.
Okay, check that out. Journeyman says hi.
Greg Carter says, everybody ignore K-Pro so she thinks she's banned again.
Bo Walker from Salem, Utah. Did yo enter?
Let's see. Mitzi
Happy
Moore,
Hump
speaking
Day.
of politics, Toby, do you realize that the Maroon 5 song you play features a self-proclaimed street bitch that admits to drugging and robbing men? Yes, Cardi B. I love her.
He wants to be kidnapped by Cardi
I
B.
want to be kidnapped by Cardi B.
Jason Hamilton's here. Jack be nimble. Viva Nuevo Mexico.
And Mitzi, you got to remember, they're entertainers. They're actors. That's all they are. So we don't take them seriously.
10621 shot. Hi.
Debbie Teal says, AJK, first discussion might be on all the new proof out there about the JFK killing. This is important for accurate history. That tends to be on the documentary side rather than on your journalism side. Journalism, the implication of journalism is that you're discussing topics with currency. They may be of current interest, but topics with currency.
We has Hot Rod Mav in the house and River Georgi, Tony F. Tony F is here.
Bill
420
Cross says,
somewhere.
sorry for retraction, but if I can't spell, don't want to post.
Eh,
Hey, if we can interpret it, we don't argue about the spelling.
Oh.
What?
Bo Walker says, good news. Finally scored an interview with the Peace Corps to help market their archaeology and history of their country. Whose country?
Whose country? Which country are we talking about, Bo? Because the Peace Corps is everywhere.
But they don't have their own country. Foxtrot Mike.
Foxtrot Mike.
Ta-da, charge. Butterfly Baby, hello.
Oh, she came in about, 4 weeks ago? And that's the first time she's been back. Hi, Butterfly Baby. She was...
Oh, Gypsy's Tramps and Thieves, River, is our theme song, our new theme song for Friday Fandango.
For 40, yeah,
So that's the song we play as we start the show and end the show,
right.
right?
That's correct.
That's right.
Yeah, we used to do, what was it? Pink Flamenco, which is a song that comes out of Audio Jungle. But we started doing, we were, as a matter of fact, we changed it the night that Cynthia was here. We decided on Gypsy's Tramps and Thieves.
Yeah. Heather Dawn
Heather.
says she has the flu, so she's just jumped in and jumping out again. But we can play her song.
Brian Eagle says, just do sound drops and we'll chat.
Sound drops. Okay. Czar 334 was
Don't apologize
with
for being
Boots
late.
on the Ground, and we're not mine yet. I'm not sure what that means. Ron Leak, video please.
Oh,
Video.
Bo says she's talking about Albania. I didn't know we had Peace Corps members in Albania. I didn't deal for as long as I spent in Washington. I didn't have any dealings with the Peace Corps. Party at Toby's Friday night. Yeah, Rusty. That's what I would want. While I'm gone.
Jim Siri
to
wants to know, how
State
did you
Science
do at the
Fair.
casino with the green tie?
I made 2 women very happy that I could join them at their table. Melanie was one, and the other was the birthday girl. I can't remember their names. I remember Melanie's name.
William
So-
is here.
She was very impressed that I was wearing a tie. So, but I told her the story. I told her the tie story. So thank you for that.
William is here.
William is here. Oops, wrong side.
Going out
A.J. Rainville made helicopters and it got by.
All right.
Camels don't get by.
3 of them work.
I think that's
More
it.
than 3, you're pushing it.
AJ, I think that's it. I think 3 is the key number.
Yeah. T. Brown went to northern New Mexico 2 weeks ago and freaked out when I saw some drones flying overhead. They were huge.
Yeah, the Forest Service is using them more and more often to do survey work. Forestation surveys, not. I guess you could do it for animal surveys. I think the Forest Service is using it. I know they're using it for forestation surveys. And they do have some pretty good, they use DJI, what do they call it? Matrix, the octocopter. It's a big aircraft.
Is that like the Octopussy?
Well.
Is that a James Bond movie? That's what it's called.
Well, yeah.
I didn't name it. William.
They're still going on with Chap.
Where are we at? Oh.
Right there.
William says, if I wear a striped shirt, it would look like a topo map. Oh. Odorous Gnome is here. Charles Chapman.
I feel like there should be a satanic appearance at that point.
No, there shouldn't. We got our sage right here.
We got our sage, yeah.
We're all ready for that. Space Child. Okay, I think we have said hello to, almost everybody. Joe, GDNKL. Or Geo. I don't even know how to say that. It's just a bunch of letters.
Geo.
It's not a word. That's not even a word.
But it's okay. At least it's unique. Hi, I have a very good idea of where it's at.
All right.
Wow, that deserves.
Can't see behind the camera.
Joe
Little Junk.
Okay.
I don't know what how to say that.
This is for you, JEO.
Oh. Like we're not paying attention. I'm like, John Bobbitt's in the house.
So where's John Bobbitt? Hey, John Bobbitt, where did you come in from? Where is he?
Right here.
Oh, there he is. Hey.
All caps.
AJ Key, could a map be inside the blaze? We do not believe so, John Bobbitt. We think the blaze is an actual indicator of wherein the treasure resides. Look down. Look quickly down. I'm not sure why the word quickly is there.
Zapster lurking
The Zapster.
present.
It's the Zapster dude.
Doop-a-doop-doop.
They're going on about James Bond. See what you've started?
Sean Martinez, A Gypsy's Kiss. Taking horses out next, boots on the ground. Your thoughts?
Wow. Adventurous. Surely will save time. But, the problem is I spent a lot of time with horses.
Just remember how high up you are as well. You're like, what, 10 feet in the air?
No, you're not. Well, depends on the horse. But
Tall the horse
but
is.
still, if you're good, and horses are really good on trails, I think it'll save you some time. But I think you need, I've always felt like you need to be close to the ground. I think there's a reason why it's called boots on the ground. And that is to have a real sense of your location, what you're doing, where you're going, So, yeah, it'll be fun. Take pictures. And if you have some great horses are really wonderful animals. Well, I was going to say wonderful. Horses can be a pain in the ass, but they can also be wonderful animals. I had one growing up.
Parzival the Wise says, smooth segue.
To what?
When we did the rooster video.
Yeah, we're not, we don't plan
we have
anything.
fun. We don't worry too much. Missouri Dave, yes, it is in the dark. Kurt Hensley, I don't know if I said his name or not yet. So I'll say it again. Mary Green.
Hey, Mary Green, long time no see.
Yeah. Odorous Gnome knows precisely where it is.
Did you do? No, we're not going to play it a second time. Odorous. Nice try, though.
Once a night, huh?
Yeah.
Is there a proximity locator? It is right next to the blaze. AGK, searcher, this is from William. Searcher on Dale's site asked Forrest if he looked quickly down, what will he see? Forrest replied, my feet.
Silly.
Silly.
Oh, that Forrest.
So silly. All right, we are at the bottom.
Really?
Yes.
That's impossible.
Forrest adventured with horses.
Okay,
I'll just
so-
take them to the Blaze campsite.
I thought I saw, on there.
On where what?
Wait. Somehow.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
silly me. I missed that. Ka-ching. Daniel James from the UK offering up £3.99. Wonderful people. Well, thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
We're so happy you're here tonight.
Most of the people in the
And
room.
again, next week, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. So that should hit you, I don't know, at 7 in the evening? Something like that?
It depends on the differences in time.
Somewhere
But
in the evening.
6 or 7.
Instead of the middle of the night.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Are you ready to do some emails?
CC, let's do emails. Housekeeping, you want to tell? Hey, Jan Schultz. And Jeep Girl. Oh, sorry.
Yep. We didn't play the hello to the room thing.
We didn't do the what to who?
The hello
the
chat
hello?
room. Okay.
We've missed a video.
Okay.
Good thing we have an
Go.
extra one.
Let's go to emails.
All right.
I don't like spam, Steve Gahagan says.
He never does. This is, from somebody who wants their name kept anonymous for some reason.
No, he's smiling at me because he knows I don't do that. So that's from
Oh.
Addie Laddie. Laddie Addie.
Addie Laddie. Okay. Good evening, both of you. I was wondering if you could do my friend Jake a favor. He is listing an item on eBay for a good cause. It includes a message to searchers. Feel free to share. If you could mention it on your show, I would greatly appreciate it. Here is the link. Please keep, and then the thanks for any help, L. So, and he gave us the link and tonight's.
So to answer the
Picture.
question, the reason I put my head back is because I'm wearing trifocals, and in order to see the screen, I have to put my head back so it's my computer middle trifocal.
Yeah, we're gonna
So I
have to
have to
get
look
Toby some another 2 pairs of glasses, one for distance and one for sitting here at the desk.
And one for walking in the boonies. Okay, so this is what he was talking about. There is a link to the eBay auction in the description box below. We are not related to any of the people either writing us or making the block. And what they're giving away is in the upper
Selling, auctioning off.
is that. How do I do this? Okay. That map right there. That's the auction. And it's a map that has been torn from a semi-destroyed copy of Too Far to Walk, and he calls it the rainbow map. It's an image, a set of images that are drawn on the map. It's on eBay. The link is pasted below, I copy and pasted the link to the eBay auction below. Last time I checked, it was around, I don't know, $265 or $365. I don't have it figured out. Like I said, we're not related. We're not advertising for them. Addie asked me to do this as a favor, so I'm doing it as a favor.
Mr. T
So-
wants to know if my shirt's sold
Oh,
on eBay.
we don't know because we forgot to check. So
The pink one had a bid on it.
It had a bid
that
on
one
it, so-
definitely would have sold.
Hang
But I
on,
don't know if
just
any of the other ones had any bids.
ignore
on
me.
them.
Ignore me.
But you're the one that.
Oh, do I have to read the next one?
Next.
Let's see.
But anyway, we do have more emails coming up. But
Hang on,
yeah,
yeah.
this is
Yes,
basically a watercolor thingy.
it did sell.
Okay, the pink.
Oh crap! It sold. Oh, it sold today
The pink shirt sold today.
for $480. Oh my God! You should have gotten it when it was earlier. I should have done
Awesome.
it by it now.
Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Nice.
my turn.
Okay. Yes, your turn.
All right, this is from Arthur Bear, or Bauer, depending on how you pronounce it. Toby, one other question for you. I was curious. So Arthur and I had a conversation about fishing in northern New Mexico because he was headed out this direction. He wanted to know what the fishing was like in certain areas. So Toby, one other question for you. I was curious in your thoughts on Do you think some people in the chase have certain information that others do not have, and that is not online, that would help someone solve this? Do you have anything like that? I ask because I do, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, and would consider trading information research if there was something useful that you have. This probably sounds like an odd email, but what I have no one has ever seen or is aware of, and it's directly related to Fenn and the areas the treasure might be. So when I first started reading this, I was under the impression that he was asking whether or not, he said, the other question was, do you think some people in a chase have certain information that others do not have, and that is not online, that would help someone solve this? So when he first asked the question, I thought he was talking about folks that believe that Fenn has given certain searchers more information. I do not. We do not believe that is the case. We do not believe that Fenn has provided any searcher any more information than he has provided any other searcher. That's the first thing. Do I believe that certain people have some information that other people do not have? I do believe that. But again, that can be a what's that phrase that we used last week? Confirmation bias. You may have discovered something, and I can think of, just offhand, I can think of at least 5 people who we know have items in their possession that they believe that get them closer to the treasure and that no one else has in their possession. So those two, I know 5 people for which those two conditions exist. They have something they believe gets them closer to the treasure, and something that they believe no one else has. And it sounds like you fall into that category. So now I know 6 people who have something in their possession that they believe gets them closer to the treasure, and believe further that no one else has. He says, because I do, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, my suggestion is you use it to find the treasure, and would consider trading information research if there was something useful that you have. We have nothing useful. If we had something useful in that regard, we'd probably still be looking for the treasure. But the fact that we are no longer looking for the treasure should indicate to you, should be an
Use the mouse and get rid of that.
Oh, geez. Who is that guy?
I don't know. Needs to be blocked.
Yeah. That was stupid.
Sorry about that.
Sorry
We had
about that,
a little
folks. We
incident
just
in the
need to
chat room we had to take care of.
take care of that real quick here.
For anybody who's new, does not know, we do not allow attacking. We do not allow name calling in our chat room. If you do that, we ban you.
Certainly don't allow racist commentary. Let me go back to this. So he says, I asked because I do, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, and would consider trading it information research if there was something useful we have. Arthur, we have nothing of use, and generally speaking, up until this point, up until right now, anything that we've discovered that we believe might be useful, we've shared, and we have the videos and the blog posts to prove it. And like I said, if we thought we had something useful that would give us a unique advantage in the search, we wouldn't have quit searching. So I'm sorry we can't help you. But what to do with it, if you're asking what to do with it, the answer is go find that treasure. So we can end the
Do we
misery.
have a song for Kevin? Kevin's in the house. We just
Why do we not
applause or
have a
something. I don't know.
Oh, Kevin
He's not here
is
that
the
often.
gentleman to whom Shelley has been married for 35 years.
35 years.
So
in
say hi to
May.
Kevin. Kevin Carney. He's a good man. He's good. He's Shelley's husband, and he's one of my friends. And I don't have a lot of friends. That's not true. I have
Because
friends,
he's so
but
picky.
let's see. What can we do for Kevin? Let's
How
see.
about
Let's give him a.
Oh, I was going to go, how about some cowbell? But then I was like, I have to get my cowbell out first.
Do you have your cowbell?
No. It's
Okay, I'm playing it.
find
Guess
that.
what?
I never remember.
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
It is. You're up.
Kevin says he's going to get me a cowbell. So when you do that to me, I'm going to have one
Those
live.
things can be damned loud.
I know, but you keep doing that to me.
Okay.
All right, so this is from New York, Jim, and
That's also Jim S, isn't it?
Polar Jim. I don't know.
KC in the house.
No, yeah, you're right, Jim Siri.
Yeah.
Okay, so and the subject line is Sinks Canyon. Hi, Toby. Say hi.
Hi, Jim.
For my boots on the ground recon, I am looking at Sinks Canyon. I believe.
Wait, stop.
What? Oh. Well, then why did you put it in here?
Sorry, didn't I just noticed it? I thought I better, because when people do that. Sorry, Jim.
Never mind. He's not in
Never
Sinks
mind.
Canyon. We've already been there anyway. It's not there.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is a really long email, multi-page email from our friend Glenn Coffrin. I don't know if you guys remember Glenn. Glenn is the guy that claimed that he's one of those guys. Somehow a helicopter was involved, and he went to find the treasure, and it wasn't there, and he's been in and out of the scene ever since. So, Glenn, this is your email. It's got some pictures associated with it that, of course. Glenn says, "I'm back, comma, baby, exclamation point." That's actually how I dictate my text messages. At least since I donated 3 silver coins for JJ, that seems like a lifetime ago. So I can tell you where it's not. It's not anywhere near Chalk Creek, despite Fenn's reference to chalking the memories on page 125. Nowhere in that canyon, despite the fact that there's 5 hot springs at its entrance, or that it was once called the Valley of Treasures. Nope, not there, despite the fact that there's a trout farm near the entrance containing what? You guessed it, rainbow trout. Not sure of the connection, but... And despite the
Fenn's rainbow.
Oh, I see. And despite the fact that there's golden-colored mine tailings up the gulch on the side, that's not gold, that's arsenic. Golden-colored mine tailings up that gulch on the side of the mountain that contained back in the 1800s nearly a $500 million in gold in today's dollar. The old Mary M mine. Mary M as in the name on that gravestone that Fenn highlighted. Or Fenn righted. Nothing there. Nothing at the end of the rainbow except a cadastral?
No.
Not far from the mine tailings, but nothing there either when I looked quickly down. Sure, this all located in a scary gulch, no place for the meek, directly opposite the omega-shaped rock slide, but you can see the omega in person. Too many trees obscure, but you can't see the omega in person. Too many trees obscure your vision when you're walking up the base of the gulch. You can only see it from Google Earth or satellite imagery. There's a picture of the omega right there. Nope, there's nothing in Grizzly Gulch or of note except Grizzly Lake. Perhaps Fenn and Dale's April Fool's scrapbook joke was on me because there were no bear in Grizzly Lake nor any marker stone. Granted, the end was a box canyon, and actually there was a marker stone for a fellow who died in an avalanche near a mine entrance in the late 1800s, but it wasn't there. I've been to the mountaintop, you and Martin Luther King, and the mine tailings and the lake, and let me tell you, they're all a bear to get to. Although the mine tailing was up a creek and less than 1/2 mile from Brown's Put-In, there was nothing there, and it would have been too difficult for Fenn to get to. Nearby were the remnants of the old miner's ski lift, only it didn't carry miners, it carried the loads, the ore. Heavy loads, to be precise. I conquered it. It's not in this vicinity. I explored every uphill creek in the vicinity. Some good trout fishing, though, and cutthroat. Regards, G.L. Cannon. Oh. Wait a minute.
What's up?
Isn't G.L. Cannon Paul Ammons?
I don't know.
I think G.L. Cannon is Pound Ammons. K-Pro, who donated 3 silver coins for the, or was it G.L. Cannon?
I don't know.
For who donated K-Pro, are Paul Ammon and G.L. Cannon the same person?
Sean Martinez says,
What? Or even better. Okay, what does Sean Martinez say?
He says, would you be willing to do a show on the find, going through an itemized close-up view description of each item in the chest?
I don't know. I suppose we'd probably have to think about that. That just seems like a lot of our time. We'd have to lug that 40-pound chest all around the house. It's dirty, so it leave marks on my carpet. So I don't know, Sean. I would really have to think about that. I would, especially then having to go through each item. I mean, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of items in that chest to go through them one at a time. So
should be fun though.
But if you find it, let us know, and we'll talk with you. We'd be happy to help you out.
Yeah, for a gold coin or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Janelle says, what's the significance of the omegas?
They're iconic in the sense that Fenn has included them as colophons in 2 of his books. Other than that, there are other people that believe they have significance. So you might bring it up in the room, because I'm sure a couple of them are in the room. We're not. We've never figured out exactly what their meaning are.
And Joel says, hey, Shelley, big fan here. Hope you guys find it this summer.
Well, we're expecting that Sean Martinez is going to show up, bring the chest with him. We don't have to look for it. We can just count the things.
To us. That'll be awesome.
I like Shelley's idea of at least maybe a gold coin for doing that show. Your turn.
Oh, my turn. Okay. So this is titled TTOTC, The Thrill of the Chase, from Stephen Johnson. And he says, hey guys, I just received my copy of The Thrill of the Chase. Is it just a coincidence that the first 4 drop-down caps spell a win? Thanks, Alberta Searcher.
I just turned your volume up slightly.
Oh.
So back in the community, in the intelligence community, they say once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is enemy action, meaning there's intent. You fall, that the one that you brought falls into the first category. It's an accident. So this is the title of this email is Question, and it's from Rion. How would you pronounce it? Ryan?
Sure.
Ryan Coy. But it's spelled very interestingly. It's spelled R-I-O-N. So I'm gonna call it Ryan, since I have a daughter whose name is Ryan. Hi, Toby and Shelley. I've been watching your show for a while, and I would first like to say thank you. You're welcome. Your show has helped me figure out a few things, confirm a few things, and rule out a lot more since I started looking last November. Yeah, all your ideas are so bad, I've ruled all of those out. I have a question for you, and please forgive me if you've answered this one before a million times, as I am certain someone has probably already asked. On Google Earth, there is an option for elevation profile. Yes, there is. When using the path function of the ruler, which I like to take into consideration when looking at some locations. What do you suppose is the maximum slope that Forrest could have done at age 80? I think it would be foolish to underestimate the old man who has spent most of his life in the mountains and forests, but I also know that the human body has its limitations. Please let me know what you think. So, in my experience, and I spent a good part of my life mountaineering in Colorado, there's a point at which the angle of the slope becomes cumbersome other than just the slope itself. And that's because once it's beyond, say, I'm going to say in the range of 50 to 60 degrees, other things are happening on that slope. It ends up acquiring scree because that's where it hangs out. If it's above the tree line, it's even worse. But the simple fact of the matter is, depending on how you attack a slope, and I'm not talking about a rock face, but depending on how you attack a slope, you can actually get up any slope if you have the time, and that's what switchbacks are all about, right? So you're reducing the angle of attack by switching back and forth across the slope. Now, the simple fact of the matter is you're using the same amount of energy. As physiologists will tell you, you're still using the same amount of energy and you're taking more time to use it. So it doesn't do you any good. There's a point in which at any age you're going to hit a 45-degree slope, and it's going to be difficult for you, but even more, it's going to be time consuming for you. So I don't think the problem is whether or not he could climb the slope. The problem would be whether or not, the problem would be how much time that slope would add to the 4 trips that he had to make in order to hide the treasure. Once up, once down, again up, and again down. So I think, to me, the angle of the slope is less important than the time and energy required to make that trip twice.
And just to throw this out there, Davio is a climber, and not that he's 80 years old, but he's, in our age range. So maybe Davio has some further remarks on that topic as well.
Yeah, Mitzi, I climbed 38 of the 52 14ers in Colorado before I was 40. Actually, before I was 44, including the tallest, Mount Elbert.
Okay, are we ready to move to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
So why don't you talk about this for just a bit?
Okay, well, this, again, the Sassy, 1962, in the chat room, she wrote us a comment, which is basically a story. It's a really interesting story, and she gives a lot of great advice to searchers and what might happen if you do find the treasure. And so here's what she says. Just wanted to comment that your concerns on searchers suing the person who actually finds the treasure are true. I found the orb that David Blaine hid, concluding the hunt in 2004. There were at least 3 lawsuits in which I was named that I know of. Fortunately for me, the sponsors absorbed them all with their legal team. The sponsors were also sued. The 3 aimed at me were all dismissed. However, a big downside to the aftermath was when people got a hold of my address and sent me hate mail. A typical letter would claim that I ruined their lives because I stole the money they were going to use to save their home from foreclosure or pay for their mother's cancer treatment, etc. Usually, after calling me vile names, they'd ask for part of the $100,000 prize. Because of this, I declined the publicity jaunt, and David was cool with that. I had a young son to consider and didn't want to expose him to bitterly disappointed, crazy people. When it comes to discussing your solutions publicly, I'd advise not giving enough info to reveal the actual location. I stupidly posted my solve online 15 hours before I actually went to look for it. In that time, no less than 3 other search parties had been at the location, some of them destroying property and clues. The only part of my solution I didn't post was the last clue that pinpointed the exact spot. So these people tore up the general area looking for the golden orb. Of course, one of those groups that had beat me there tried to sue, saying it was a scam. They had been there before me and found no orb, so I was a fake winner. They had probably been there, and probably within 2 feet of it. David Blaine's interview, in which he gave an extra clue, is what actually pinpointed the precise location. And if the failed searchers had factored that in, I would not have this story to tell. I did keep a diary of the actual boots-on-the-ground hunt and took pictures. It can be found online. To those worried about taxes, there are many options, and getting a good tax attorney that specializes in prize winners is important. A regular accountant or attorney won't cut it. There are special laws federally and locally that apply. As for the Fenn hunt, I got involved early on and shared several emails with Forrest. The only confidence I have in all of that is that I have the first clue solved. Since I no longer live in California, I'm in Indiana, boots on the ground for this hunt won't happen unless I have a concrete solve. This search doesn't involve codes and ciphers, so there is not a lot to confidently confirm ideas. I have tons of ideas. Some I have seen expressed here, some I have not. I have enjoyed your panels and exchange of ideas. I wish such a large conversation had existed during the Blaine hunt. All we had were message boards, a place where I was never taken seriously and my theories were mocked on a regular basis. That memory always makes me chuckle. Well, I think that's very exciting to hear that story, that one of our searchers in our chat room has actually found a treasure using the clues to go to the place and find the treasure. And so that kind of gives us all a little bit of hope, I think. So I would like to know a little bit more from the Sassy about the differences you see between this hunt and the hunt that you solved in as a person who solves these riddles. What do you see how is it solving those riddles for the David Blaine hunt as compared to solving the riddles in Fenn's poem?
We ought to zoom her in.
We should do that if she's willing.
Sassy,
I can understand the lack of privacy and all the hate mail.
Well,
we certainly know about
what
that.
I would be interested in is she said that she had there was message boards regarding the Blaine treasure, and she said she put some of her ideas on there and they were laughed at. Mm-hmm. Yet she found the treasure.
Yeah.
So, Sassy, this is an open invitation. If you'd like someday soon, hopefully, to zoom in with us so that we can have a conversation, we could do it as early as next Wednesday. And I'm sorry we're not having a show on Friday because I would like to do it. I could arrange to do it on Friday. But if you're interested, if you see this or if you're still in the room and you're interested in zooming in for a conversation with Shelley and I on this topic, we'd love to have you and kind of expand on that conversation. It was by the way, folks, this was not an email, this was in the comments, but it was so well written and thoughtfully composed. I thought we'd like to share it here, and because we think there's some really informed verbiage in there. She's found a treasure. It wasn't the Fenn treasure, but it was a well-publicized treasure. It was nationally publicized. David Blaine is a nationally recognized magician, and she found that treasure. And it's interesting to hear her say when I messaged when I put my ideas on the message board, she was laughed at. So there's a lot of us that have had that similar experience, not just in message boards and chat rooms and forums and things like that. So I think we'd like to have her on the show sometime. We'll do everything we can to get in touch with her and see if we can get her on the show for a more a deeper conversation on this topic, because I think she has some interesting things to say. I mean, she's found a treasure, so
yeah.
That's far and away better than I've accomplished at this point.
Me too.
T. Brown says, I was on a 50 to 60 degree in the snow last November. Was scary and tiring. Yeah, 50 to 60 degrees in the snow can be. Czar says 45 degrees. Let's see. They're kind of adding to what I was saying earlier. Let's see. Did I miss somebody?
Have you climbed the White Mountains of New Hampshire?
New Hampshire, yeah. I didn't. I wasn't as much climbing as it was scrambling. There was a lot of rock face scrambling, mostly with friends. But I was much younger and much healthier at the time. So, but I have been in that area in the New Hampshire, and that area. There's another area in West Virginia that's very similar. Long time ago. Scrolling down. Oh, Sassy says, do you want me to call you? Wow. Was that just now? Sassy, you know what? We're going to change I'm going to turn on the phone line right now. So, first of all, Sassy, I'm going to go down to the bottom of we got a bunch of questions. Wait. Sassy used @AGK Media. We saw it. AGK Media. She's still here. She is still here now. I would be happy to join you. Okay. So, Sassy, I'm going to open up the phone lines, the number. So do me a favor and type in your type in your area code, right? Do me a favor and type in your area code so that I know it's you calling, and I can answer it, okay? So just type in your area code, and while you're doing that, I'm going to go over to the phone side. Let's see. She's sassy. I hope so. I hope she's sassy. So just Sassy, it's going to take her a couple of seconds. Okay. So Sassy.
260.
Right at the top, call 866-597-9901. And I'll answer your call. If it's anybody else, I'll put you off for just a little bit. Let's take Sassy's call and have this conversation. Okay?
260 is her area code.
Yeah. So call us now, Sassy. It's going to take a little time between the time you see this and the time we say it and the time you see it. Give me that. There she is. Hey, Sassy.
Do you want us to call you Sassy
Yeah,
or something else?
Hi.
Hi. So what name can we call you besides Sassy?
Sherry.
Sherry. Well, hi, Sherry.
My name's James. If anybody Googles the David Blaine Hunt, they'll figure that out pretty
All
quick.
right. Well, great. So a couple of things. Number one, what prompted you to write this really well-composed comment that you put below our last video?
Well, I think that my experience in the David Blaine Hunt, there was a lot of things about it that really shocked me. How many people really thought they had the answer and were entitled to it, and were so bitterly, emotionally devastated when somebody else found it. And I'm sure their lives were in tatters. And it was hard to be happy about my big win interacting with those people. So I had to shut it down. And people don't think about the what if, you know. There's a lot of artifacts in that box that could be, be so old that you can't sell them. You know, when you get a check from a publisher, that's a lot different in prize money than getting a box of museum quality pieces. And I think it's going to be really difficult. Yeah, you found the treasure, and everybody thinks that means they're getting $3 million. And I'm reading some of the things online and some of the message boards, some of the videos, and I just wanted people to stop and think about the responsibility of it and how you have to protect yourself above all else, because you'll get attacked.
Let's go back.
You'll get lost.
Let's go back and talk a little bit
And
about.
it was only $100,000. It's not like it was, you know, like millions.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So let's go back and talk a little bit about that. So, as I understand it, you live in the Midwest. Is that correct?
Indiana.
I did. I was a lifelong California girl. And at age 55, I moved to the Midwest, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, it's a big change in lifestyle and probably how you whether you're healthy or not. So you took an interest in this Blaine treasure. I remember him announcing it. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember an announcement. And what did you have to do to find the prize, if you will? Not the, it was a 100K prize, but you had to find something in order to earn the prize. Tell me about that. Tell me the story about that.
He had hidden a solid gold orb somewhere in the continental United States, and then wrote a book that was a biography that was about 10 times longer than Fenn's book. And in that, he had hidden clues. And most of it, I must say, it was code. Morse code, the Veneer cipher, different things like that, which my dad was a Marine and taught me a lot of different codes and ciphers, so I kind of knew how to do that. But going back before that, he published a book in 2002. And right then I was diagnosed with lupus. And about 2 years into it, at the beginning of 2004, I was having brain fog from it. And my doctor recommended that I try to find some puzzles to solve online. And that's how I came across the David Blaine hunt.
And
It had
so,
already been in process. Sorry?
yeah, go ahead. You said it had already been in process.
In progress for 2 years at that point. And at that point, there were message boards online discussing it. And at that point, all of the ciphers had been solved. And that left you with, I don't remember if it was 21 or 24 sentences that were sort of like the Fenn clues, you know. Some of them were actual clues and some of them were directions on what to do with the rest of the sentences. So it might be something like one of them said something about turn it inside out and mock its mate, which would be a mock its mate word was like root, R-O-O-T and R-O-U-T-E. So one of them you would then turn around and make it T-O-O-R. And you had to go through all these steps through all the things, all the sentences, and then when you were done, you ended up with a phrase that basically told me to go look in Laurel Canyon in Southern California. And that was about, an hour and a half from me. So I thought, my son's at a baseball game. I knew that David Blaine had been getting frustrated over the 2 years, and he had started giving... He gave an official clue on like NBC or something or ABC where he said, I got one more clue, and if my tattoo is fearless, then climb 10 months to find the root. And root is spelled R-O-U-T-E. And the My Tattoo is Fearless referred to the Fearless DVD that had been discussed over and over and over again, and his tattoo had numbers. It was just like kind of like one of those concentration camp tattoos. Well, the numbers were the address of the house where the Fearless DVD was filmed. It happened to be owned by Rick Rubin, the music producer, and it was for sale. And in California, homes that are for sale are subject to public inspection. So I figured, what the heck, I'll go check it out. And then there were some other phrases in that Laurel Canyon solve that told me where it was, but it was really the tattoo clue. Why would he spell out route? R-O-U-T-E. Route. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Yes.
But they find the treasure under the big W. And this was hidden under a big W in the root of the tree. And that cat, on the way home, I had given up and I was leaving, and I had to go pick up my son. I'd been there 3-4 hours and didn't find a thing, and I had poison oak all over my legs and ticks on me, and I was done. And I got back on the freeway and saw a big pickup truck with the word tattoo on the back tailgate, and suddenly it hits me, root. It's in that big W tree with the roots that I slipped on. And so by that time I had to go get my son and pick him up from Little League, and I couldn't drive because my feet were swollen. And so I got my ex-husband to drive, and he kept saying, you better be right about this. If you're not right about this, I'm driving out here to the valley for nothing, all the way there. And it was dark by the time we got there, but I knew right where to go. And there was like a lizard it was like a fake rock, and the orb was hidden inside of it. There was a lizard on it, and it was gross. But I made my son reach in the hole. He was 10. And pull it back out, and then we just ran. We were just like, run. And we ran back up to the car. And
Terry Scant with marble gaze.
Turn on the light to open it. A police car drives by and shines its light on us. But it kept going, and we looked at it, and inside was a phone number call. So I didn't have a cell phone in 2002, so we went down to a payphone down the hill in North Hollywood, and called him from a payphone, and it was like 9 o'clock at night California time, so it was midnight New York, and he was at a party. And he was so shocked. He just freaked out, and he made everybody stop the music and announced that somebody found it, and it was pretty fun.
So it's kind of like we did when that friend of ours found a treasure that we hid. Oh. So the orb itself was hollow, and it had information inside to contact David Blaine?
No, it was solid gold, and it had words typed, stamped into it.
Right, engraved into it.
It's in the Smithsonian. Yeah, and it was hidden inside a fake hollow rock. I still have that.
And you said there was a lizard on the rock. Was it a fake lizard, a real lizard?
Well, no, it was a real lizard. It was like, it was not really exposed. There was a hole at the base of the root, and you had to reach your hand in there. So
let me, because I've got a bunch of questions in the room that they want me to ask you. So if you compare it, so now you've had the experience of actually finding this treasure. You've been working on the Fenn treasure, obviously, because you're here. So what would you have?
Well, actually, I only worked on it the first 6 months, and then I hadn't done anything. I bought the book, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I just in the last week decided to see if anybody had ever found it.
Right. So I'm going to ask you to make some comparisons. You know that in Fenn's poem he says you've got to find the blaze. It's the maybe one of the last 9 clues, and then you look quickly down. The implication being that the blaze should be the thing that you can see before actually having to look for the treasure, as your son did, sticking his hand in the hole of the root of the tree. What was your equivalent of the blaze in that treasure hunt? The root?
It was the root. It was the root. Yeah, but in this hunt, I don't think the blaze is what most people think it is.
What do you think the blaze is? And
I think it's a stone cairn.
A stone cairn. Okay. All right. That's reasonable. That's a perfectly reasonable conclusion on your part. So one of the things that interested me is it sounds like you could have solved you could have solved the Blaine treasure hunt by you could have done it without ever having to leave home. You didn't have to put boots on the ground right till the end.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct, because it was made of ciphers and puzzles and Morse code, and there's a picture of a building, and in the window are different letters, and if you write all the letters down, they're teeny tiny, but if you write them all down, then it doesn't spell something out. You have to anagram to get it. It makes a sentence. Mm-hmm. Another thing was every chapter in the book had a lizard on it, and the lizard had dots in a straight line down its back. And if you strung all the lizards together, it was one of the 21 sentences in Morse code. So you had to find all that stuff in the book. So there was ways to know whether you were making progress.
So
if you got a sentence out of one of these things, then once you got all the sentences worked with each other to reduce it down to about 12 words.
John T. Brown in the room wants us to ask if there were any movie or book deals offered you.
David and I talked about that, and what I was really worried about was, at the time I was a single mom, and I'd already been served 3 lawsuits, which Random House graciously absorbed. And I was getting hate mail, and people pretty much doxed me and knew where I lived, and I didn't want, and that was just the people on the message boards that knew. if I went on national TV, then everybody would know. And I didn't. These people are freaking crazy. Half these people in the Fenn hunt are freaking crazy. And I didn't want to subject my son to any of that. So I declined the publicity job. David and I discussed, he was thinking about writing a second book that was a follow-up, but in the end, what he did was he did a second edition printing, and he addended it with my story, and we called it good.
Wow.
Because I had the prize money. I wasn't trying to, I didn't want to wring it for every drop of dough I could get out of it. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to get by with my son, and have a little fun. And I didn't want it to be a big drama. And I didn't want to think that one of these crazy people would show up at my house. Because some of the threats I got were really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You said Random House absorbed the lawsuits. Do you mean that they absorbed the cost of fighting the lawsuits, or did they have to pay some of those lawsuits off? Were they held up in court?
They didn't pay them off. They were all dismissed in court. They were laughed out of court.
Yeah. I have a sense that's what would happen in the case of the Fenn treasure.
Yeah.
Did you feel like?
Go ahead.
Did you feel like that Random House expected that?
Filed them,
I don't think she can hear me.
And one of the guys submitted all this photographic proof that had him right at the location and showing that there's nothing there. Well, what had happened before I got there is somebody had torn the place to shreds looking for this. They pulled rocks out of a rock wall. They trampled down plants, destroyed one tree branch, fell off this big oak tree, just tore it apart. And a week later, when David and I met there, Rick Rubin had gardeners fixing everything, and he had new little plants that were kind of like little arborvitaes in tubs laid out to hide the tree so nobody else would come looking for it. And in the photograph were the pictures of these new plants with the tubs. So the judge knew they hadn't been there during the hunt. They were there post-hunt. And there was just crazy things like that.
So none of the cases were held up in court.
Nothing held up in court. Everything was dismissed.
So hang on just a second.
And Random House was the sponsor.
Random House was what?
So they took care of it all.
Oh, nice.
Random House was the sponsor.
Right.
So they took care of everything.
So Shelley has a question for you.
I don't know if she can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, she can hear you.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know, did you feel that Random House was expecting these lawsuits might happen when the treasure was found?
No, they weren't. Their lawyer that contacted me was, I want to say, surprised at how many crazy people contacted them. I mean, seriously crazy. Some of the letters that I got and that they saw and that they got were just, seriously, people, you need to go get some treatment. But
yeah,
I think that they did not expect it to have such a violent backlash against the prize winner. They thought people would be more fair-minded. And I agreed. I never thought about this stuff. But so many people had been obsessed with it and spent, every waking moment of their lives and spent all this money going all over the United States looking for this treasure. And, one of the things I've noticed about armchair treasure hunting and past, I've read a lot about different hunts that have gone on over the last 25 years. A lot of times, actually 100% of the time, if I'm going to be honest, let's just put the cards on the table here. 100% of the time of the 6 or so large, legitimate treasure hunts, the owners have hidden it in some place that they are extremely familiar with and not far from somewhere that they would go all the time. So the Blaine thing came into this because he'd stayed often at the Rubin house in Hollywood. So people get mad about that. They get mad. Well, gosh, he just did it right in LA. We should have known that from the beginning. Why did he say it was anywhere in the United States and there was a lawsuit over that? Saying that he shouldn't be allowed to do that, you know. But, you know, the deal is your critical thinking is not my problem.
Right. So let me ask a couple more questions.
Or lack thereof.
Let me ask a couple more questions that are coming from the room. Was Reuben aware that Blaine had hidden the golden orb on his property?
No, and we all had a great big laugh about that.
So it was actually on his property, his private property?
He wasn't mad, but he wasn't aware either. David just, and technically speaking, if somebody had filed the right lawsuit, if it weren't for that California law that said that places that are for sale have a right to public inspection, he might not have been able to fight it. But, you know, Dave didn't, Reuben did not know.
That's interesting. Real property, unowned real property.
David Blaine is David Blaine is like a kid with ADHD. And he has ADHD.
Yeah.
And dyslexia. So he's just wasn't thinking that far ahead, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I was like a mom. I was like, don't. And then he tried to take my son up on the top of a third floor steeple and levitate him. And I was like, God, I don't have insurance going to cover an injury like that. Please don't. And
so let me get you back to treasure hunting here. So, how long have you been looking for the Fenn treasure?
6 months when it first started, and Forrest was really good about answering emails and answering responses on Facebook. And I probably have 10 emails and maybe 2 responses from the Facebook page that used to exist that isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so maybe 6 months. And I had a friend that was going to New Mexico, and I told him where I was going. And he said, well, with where she was going. And he said, well, with that starting place, you're looking good. He didn't say anything about the rest of it, which was totally wrong and not in the direction I'm going now.
So,
but, of course, there was nothing there. And everybody got altitude sickness and barfed for 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're trying to search doing that. And so I was just like, I'm not doing this again, and dropped it. And that was 10 years ago.
So now that you've had time to look at it, what would you say are the similarities? Let's talk about similarities between the Blaine treasure hunt and the Fenn treasure hunt. And then afterwards, let's talk about differences. But let's talk about what do you see as the similarities between the two?
There are 2 blatant similarities. One is it's difficult for both of them to keep this secret. So things that are said in interviews or off the cuff, I would not discount. 2, I think there's a lot. Well, I addressed this in a question that I had submitted for this show, not knowing I was going to be talking to you. I had asked whether you guys thought that any of the stories in his book, not the chapters, just the accounts or the stories, had anything to do with the solves. And the reason for that is, in David Blaine's book, yes, you needed to know all of these numbers and words and codes, but in order to actually come down to the final answer, you needed to have remembered that David told the story about filming the DVD Fearless. And you had to then research that location and figure out that, hey, the address for that place where he filmed Fearless is the same number as his tattoo, and put all that together. There's pieces along the way for solving those 21 questions that came out of the actual stories, not the illustrations or codes that were in the book.
So,
Just references.
so is it possible that in the thrill of the chase, other than the page on which the poem is printed, that there's something in the thrill of the chase that Fenn gave us that is the equivalent of what David Blaine gave? Yeah.
And there's three particular stories that he has repeated over and over and over again in the book, in his interviews, in personal conversations with people, that in the solve that I have now, that I'm working towards, back everything up. And I'm not the only one that's come up with this solve. Let me just say that I'm in an area that other people have looked at, but there's some critical points that I think are not being addressed. And much like the Blaine thing, they don't have the last bit of information. I don't think it has anything to do with Brown. I think a lot of people are going the wrong way on Blaze. But there's something after Blaze. There's something in, I would say, the look down area. I don't think it's necessarily look down. I have some ideas that that's not what that term means. The end is never drawing nigh. I'm a left believer on that. But I think the term looking down is not what people assume that it is.
So since we have you here, and since you have the experience, and so you now, you have the understand the differences between what Blaine has done and what Fenn has done, and the similarities. Let me just ask you some questions that require quick answers so we can see if we can all benefit by your expertise. Number one, what's the first clue? What do you believe is the first of the 9 clues?
Take it from the warm water swamp. That's definitely the first one.
And what's the last?
And I can confirm that because in an email I have conversation about that, and I will just say that is definitely the first clue.
An email with Fenn, you mean?
In an email with Fenn, yeah.
He confirmed.
Because I had the same kind of questions y'all had early on, and I had asked him, are you, because he'd already said that was the first clue, and I said, are you sure that's the first clue? It's, 4 lines in, and he said, that is the first clue.
All right. So what's your last clue? Half a line before takes the treasure. All right. And what, in your opinion, is the distance between clue 1 and clue 9?
The overall distance?
Yeah, the distance between the point at which you start, the distance between the point at which you start and where the treasure lies.
Oh, it's probably, let me add up.
Something rough. It doesn't have to be perfect.
20 miles.
20 miles.
20 miles maybe total.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then, so I asked you about the similarities between the Fenn treasure hunt and the Blaine treasure hunt. What do you see are the biggest differences?
The biggest differences is there's really no way to confirm that you're making progress. With ciphers and codes, once you solve it, it's really obvious that you solved it, and you move on to the next step, right? With this, there's no way to solve it unless you're getting, any kind of confirmation from Fenn himself. There's just no way to confirm that what you've done is correct.
So, do you believe that you have to be boots on the ground to find the Fenn treasure? That you can't find it by sitting in? I think you can get within 500 feet of it, no problem. But actually finding it, I think you need to be boots on the ground. Interesting.
Can we ask
So,
pardon
me.
Can we ask
I've got a location that I've got a circle drawn around that's probably about a total of a mile radius, and I firmly believe it is within that circle.
So, Shelley has...
There are so many variables depending on the definition of a couple of those last phrases.
So you mentioned in your comment that you had shared your solution, your theory, with folks on the message boards, and they laughed at you. Tell me about that.
They did. I spent 2 months working on this. That's all I worked on it. These people have been working on it for 2 years. So I was the newbie. And I would post things like, well, what about this? What about that? And they would say, oh, no. There was this one guy that was like the ruler of the whole thing. And, oh, no, he worked that solvable. It's not that. On and on and on. Every time I mean, it didn't matter what it was. They just treated me like that. But I'm a sassy girl. And I would just get back in their face and say, well, look, because if you did this, then X, Y, and Z would happen. And then it would take like 2 weeks for the big boss to come down and say, hey, Sassy has a point, and then everybody would like chill out. And at the very end, like 2 days before, when I was just starting to come up with the solve, I said, hey, you guys, I think the whole last part of the puzzle was an anagram. Oh, you're so silly. That's just because that's the code. That's the thing you know how to do best. It's got to be more complicated than that. It can't be that simple. This can't be anagrams. And they laughed and laughed and laughed. And so, like, the night before I was going to go look, I was bored, and I posted, and I said, well, say what you want, but if you do the anagrams, this is what you get. And stupid me, it was the solution, And
So,
I didn't go until like 15 hours later, and there were like 3 people that had already been there, 3 search parties. So it went like right after I posted it.
So, a couple of things. Shelley has a short question for you, and then I've got another one for you.
So what state does the treasure lie in? Which state?
She's breaking up.
She's asking if you would share the state that you believe the treasure lies in.
New Mexico.
Okay.
Like I said before, people that build these puzzles, people that make these treasure hunts, put it in the place they know best and where they can keep an eye on things.
So one of the other things that I thought was interesting, you mentioned early in our conversation this evening that Blaine seemed to be getting frustrated over the fact that the treasure wasn't being recovered, and that you felt like he was giving additional hints. Tell me more about that. In interviews, he was really, really. The Fearless DVD that he kept talking about was like 5, 6 years old. It was old news. It had been around. Everybody knew about it. He had a new DVD out. Why did he keep harping on the Fearless DVD? Nothing about the Fearless DVD was in the book except for a picture of the top of this house that Rick Rubin had with David Blaine standing on the roof levitating. That's from the DVD. It was a screenshot, and it was just kind of in a chapter that just kind of talked about his magic, but it didn't talk about the Fearless DVD. And if you watch the Fearless DVD, it shows the whole grounds, and you can see one of the clues was find the concrete steps, or find the concrete bridge, or the concrete timbers. That's what it was, concrete timbers. And it turned out to be a fake timber bridge that was made out of cement. And then once you get to that point, you have to count 70 steps. But all pictures of all of that was in the Fearless DVD. And so he kept bringing this up, and everybody was like, it's old news. Why is he harping on this, But he was saying he didn't think it would be solved in his lifetime, and he was, it had gone on 2-3 years, and, he's a young guy, and he's impatient, and he wanted to see it solved. And so that's when he finally issued that last clue and started harping on the Fearless DVD. There was nothing that was in the book. In your opinion, how do you believe Fenn feels about the fact that his treasure has not yet been recovered?
Well, originally he thought he was going to die. So I'm sure originally he wanted it found right away. But I think then he just kind of got used to it. But now he's really getting up in years. And I think that there was a big period there from like 2010 to maybe 2016 that he just wasn't giving tons of interviews. But in the last 3 or 4 years, that's kind of picked up, and I think it's because he's getting a little impatient. You know, I've found all these interviews online that were, you know, none of that was around when this hunt first came out. There's hardly anybody knew about it, you know?
Yeah. 1,000 books were printed, all sold out of collected works. It really didn't hit big time until the Margie Goldberg article in Hemispheres magazine. We got 198 people in the room right now. You've had the experience.
Okay.
So I have to ask one thing. What impact did that $100,000 have on your life?
Well, half of it went to taxes. I mean, let's be honest. And I didn't have a good tax attorney. I used a really, really reputable accountant, but when he did my taxes, he claimed it as a prize, but the IRS, he didn't use the right code, and the IRS thought that the check from Random House was an advance on a book.
Right, unearned income.
And there's a different tax person for earnings from a book advance than there is for a prize. And so it screwed me all up, and I ended up having to pay $10,000 towards that. And but other than that, I invested it very wisely in some REITs and trusts, and I use that. I'm disabled because of the lupus. I use that to supplement my income, and that helped my son have Little League every year, and wrestling, and the prom, and the yearbook, and the class ring, and, you know, get him through from 10 to 18, some really great years. I never had to worry about rent. We did take a trip to Hawaii I took my mom and my son, and it was order whatever you want. But even that only came out like $5,000, you know, so, but, you know, choose the souvenir you want. I'm not going to say no.
Let's
order room service.
Do you still
Let's go spend $100 a piece on the submarine, you know. And that was 2 weeks, and it was wonderful, but the rest of it I invested and lived off of until about 2010. So I got 6-7 years out of it before the REIT got down low enough where it wasn't giving me all that extra money.
Yeah. So do you still maintain contact with Blaine after, 16, 17 years?
Before I moved here in 2016, I saw him at a party. And he knew who I was instantly, and he got all excited. He kind of runs in a crowd that's some musicians, and I did too at the time. And he knew who I was, but I hadn't seen him in a few years. Every once in a while I'd get an email because he'd be asking about my son. He himself, his mother was also a teacher, which I had been a teacher. She got sick when he was young, as I got sick when my son was young. And he felt a lot of connection between my family dynamics and his family dynamics. And so he would call mostly to check on Tanner, not me, and make sure that I, you know, he knew that I'd had a lot of trouble with the lawsuits and stuff. And so he'd just check in a couple times, just maybe 2 or 3 times, I think, over the next 4 or 5 years. And then the last time I saw him was in 2016 at a party, and he got all excited, and yeah, that was cool. And he's a really great guy. For anybody that's intimidated by his looks or evil or whatever, he's not.
Yeah,
he is a really fun, upbeat person.
He's an entertainer.
He's a lot of fun to be around.
And he's a good one. He's one of the best at his business. So you've got
sweet.
You've got over nearly 200 people, rapt attention. So before we let you go tonight, and we look forward to future conversations, honestly. So what advice would you give to the Fenn treasure hunter?
Do not use your life savings or jeopardize your family's financial well-being to search for this. Because narrowing it down to a general area is going to be the easy part, and you can do it from home. The hard part is going to be the last final steps. But don't give up. I mean, there's going to be an aha moment where you finally, oh my God, it's right here. Why didn't I see this before? And I think that moment is going to have to do with words and the alternate meanings of words and the way the words are positioned in a sentence, how it's being used. And that kind of stuff you can do from home. You know, don't put your family and your finances in jeopardy going out on 20 gazillion trips.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really believe in what you're doing before you, unless your solve is like out your back door, then heck, go for it and be really thorough when you're combing the place, you know? But I hate to see people that have put their families and their financial well-being in jeopardy because they're obsessed with a treasure hunt that they probably are not going to solve. That's so sad to me. And I just, you know, kind of, please be careful. Don't get too obsessed. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Sam doesn't want you guys going broke, you know?
Yeah.
That's not what he wants.
Agreed. So I've got one more question from the room for you, and then we'll call it a night.
Hey.
But I have your phone number now, and I'm going to be busy over the next couple of days with my grandson. But maybe we could talk over the weekend and perhaps set up a Zoom conversation so we can Zoom you in live for a longer interview.
Sure.
Because I think folks would like to hear more about your experience. You're a winner. You've done this, and you've completed that. It sounds very different from the Fenn treasure hunt, but I'm sure there's some similarities that we can learn from, and maybe some differences we could learn from. And I think it would be worth a conversation that I'd like to set up, and I'm sure our friends in the chat room would like to see. Okay, so let me ask this last question, and it's from T. Brown, and he says, what line in the poem, and I'll let you interpret it however you want, what line in the poem was her aha moment?
I have two, really. My aha moment didn't have anything to do with the poem. My aha moment had to do with stories. But as far as my aha moment had to do with translating a word and coming up with the home of Brown.
Translating a word in the poem?
No.
All right.
Brown, I believe, is capitalized because you need to dig into that word deeper.
Okay.
Put it that way.
It has great significance.
And great significance, and it hooks everything together. Then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay.
So if you watched Fenn...
Now some of these surrounding landmarks make sense.
If you've watched Fenn's interviews, he says more often than not that there is a word in the poem that is key that we've been ignoring. Is that word Brown?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you,
Yes.
Sassy. Who knows? Toby and Shelley might be on the hunt
And
again.
I think that's what too. And I think that's why it's capitalized.
Uh-huh. The word that is key is the word that is capitalized unusually in the poem. Is that what you're saying?
That's my thoughts, yes.
All right. Okay. Well, we're about at our 2 hours, and I would love to have this go much longer. I'm glad that you took the time to send us that detailed comment. I'm glad that we decided to read it. We don't normally read our comments on the show. I'm glad you were in the room and decided to call so that we could have this kind of very open conversation. I'm very grateful that you took the time to to do that. I couldn't thank you enough, and I'm sure that the folks in the room feel the same way about it from what they're saying. And I do want to assure you that sometime this weekend, as it gets less busy for me, I'm going to call you back and let's have a conversation about Zooming you in and having you in live for a longer, for an entire program, and we'll have a fun conversation.
I just want to say one thing. I want to thank you guys for caring about the searchers enough to introduce topics such as what's going to happen if you actually find the prize, taxes and publicity and all of that, because it was my experience that I was not prepared for it at all. And there's a lot of choices that you have to make once you actually find it, and being informed and making decisions about this kind of thing, seeking advice is so important. And I really applaud you for bringing that to everyone's attention.
Well, thank you very much. We feel...
I think it's going to ultimately help the winner.
We hope so. We think that ever since we started this channel, the more that we shared, the better it would be for everybody. And I feel like we've accomplished that as much as we possibly can, So I'm going to say thank you. Do you have any last things?
Oh, no, that's good. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sherry,
I'm going to go back and read the comments in the chat room.
I think you're going to really enjoy the comments in the chat room. They were very grateful for you having come on tonight and having this conversation. So I think you're going to like them a lot. And
one more question.
Sure.
What's the deal with the cows?
The cows?
What's the deal with cows mooing?
Cow mooing.
Oh,
I have to
you
figure
mean
that out.
this one? Oh, the cow mooing on our Hello Chat room. Cow mooing?
Which one?
Yeah.
The Hello Chat
Well, they
room?
started talking about cows. Give me a cow, and then people started going moo, and I was like, what's with the cow?
Oh,
One of our searcher subscriber YouTube friends is a cow.
one of our searcher subscriber friends is Mike Cowling from Las Vegas. He also has a YouTube channel. He's known as Cal Lazars, and so he has. I'm going to play it right
Cal
now.
Lazars.
This is his walk-in song. Cow lasers, get it?
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's what that's about. So, and his
Okay,
partner.
that's very involved.
His partner is K-Pro Thor. So they have their own channel called Cal Lazars, talking about Fenn treasure. He also talks about other treasures. It would be interesting because he's kind of a multi-treasure person. I wonder if he did some searching for the Fenn treasure. I know he was real interested in the whiskey...
Bourbon tea. Breakfast.
What was it?
Breakfast tea and bourbon.
Breakfast tea and bourbon solution. So maybe he's had some interest in the David Blaine one as well. But I will talk to you this weekend,
Yeah.
okay? I promise.
Thank you so much, Toby, and thank you, everybody, for wanting to even listen to my story.
Well, they not only listened to it, they commented it, and they were very complimentary about your contributions.
Good. Thank you so much. It's been a blast.
We've had a lot of fun. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, that, ladies and gentlemen, was amazing. Those are, one of the
turn the phone
benefits of doing these. What?
Turn the phone off so we don't get any more calls.
Oh,
It's late
okay.
at night.
Okay. Let's turn
Before
that
we
off right
get
now. Okay.
Chatting.
So, so we have a great big problem, and the problem is we have couple dozen text messages and voicemails that we're not going to get to tonight. And I wasn't planning to do a show on Friday, and I cannot do a show on
Friday night.
But how would you feel about doing a show tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night?
Wait, we can't do a show
How
tomorrow
about
night.
Friday afternoon?
Can we do a show Friday afternoon?
What time are you?
No, I've got to be at the school at 3:30, which means I'm going to have to leave here about 2:30 to make sure that I'm there.
Okay. Wow.
So I'll be back on Saturday, Sunday.
Not late.
Well, we've got,
You're
so
busy all
K-Pro and Cal just announced that they were going to do Mondays and Thursdays, so I don't want to step all over that. So here's what we're going to do. All right.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to
converse about this first, or you just
So
gonna
no, we're going to wing
blurt
it.
it right out there?
Yeah, I'll blur it out, and then you tell me if
Then
I'm
I'll
crazy.
hit you, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Go ahead.
So here's what we're going to do. Number one, I feel like that the time we invested with Sherry just now was time well spent. It was a good learning experience for all of us. I promise that I'm going to get in touch with her this weekend so we can set up a Zoom show for sometime next week. I haven't decided when it's going to be, where it's going to be. We might take up a Friday Fandango with just having her Zoom in and having a conversation about that. But because we had
Maybe next Friday Fandango. That would be good.
with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not this
Maybe-
Friday, but the Friday after.
You know what we could do is invite Cynthia
The
in,
12th.
have the three of us and Sherry Zooming in. Or Cynthia and Sherry Zooming in. So here's my thoughts. I'm not going to be here on Friday. I'm tied up Friday, and we don't get back till late on Saturday. But I want to take care of all the business that we've had tonight that we haven't been able to get to. There are calls, there are voicemails, there's other conversations that we want to have. So how about a Sunday show for the heck of it? The Makeup Friday show will take place on Sunday.
Okay.
Want to do it?
Sure.
All right. So here's the deal. Shelley, not Sherry. Sherry-san and I will be back on Sunday night at 7 p.m. To pick up where we left off tonight and make up for the fact that we're not going to have a Friday Fandango. So we don't have a name for it. We'll just call it Sunday, 7
Sunday
p.m.
makeups.
I'll load it up right now so it'll already be scheduled.
No, you won't.
Pardon?
No, you won't. We have a show tomorrow.
Oh, we have a show
After
tomorrow.
Tomorrow's show you can do.
We have a softer side tomorrow at 1 o'clock when we're going to be talking about sex. We're going to be talking about
It's a
sex.
wild week we're having here.
Yeah, kind of. Woo. I'm already perspiring. So we're going to do Sunday night, 7 p.m. We'll go through all the text messages that we haven't gone through now. If you have more texts that you want us to cover on Sunday night about this conversation that we have with Sunday Fun Day, okay. Video viewer wins the show.
Again?
So it's the Sunday Fun Day
But
that
he
we're going to
got
have.
to name Hump Day
He
Hoedown.
did? Was that video?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Guys so we had to hire him for marketing, huh? So we'll do a Sunday, 7 p.m. We've got the softer side tomorrow at 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about sex. And then in this weekend, I will contact Sherry and we'll plan a show for sometime next week so we can zoom her in and have some more of these conversations. There has to be something that we can learn from a person who's done one of these things and won it. I've talked to a lot of people who have done other treasure hunts. Sherry is the first one that I've ever talked to that's actually won a treasure hunt. And so there's got to be something we can learn from her. And I think it would be worth a conversation. So forgive me for taking up our time tonight. I hope you understand that I felt like this was something important. Certainly it was important enough for Sherry to call in and have the conversation and be free with all that information. But we missed a lot of other stuff that we're going to have to get to Sunday Fun Day.
Sunday. Bring your camera.
Yeah. So Sunday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Shelley and I
That's
will be
me.
back. Shelley and I will be back to pick up
can't take my place.
where we left off. If you have questions about anything that happened tonight, you can send me an email, gypsieskiss@gmail.com, or you can send a text message, 866-597-9901, or you can leave a voicemail at 866-597-9901. Anything else you want to say?
Oh, I want to
Oh.
say thank you to the people who supported us this evening with Super Chat, including Jan Schultz at $9.99 and Crimson Fox at $14.99. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here with us this evening and for supporting us with your Super Chat funds. We appreciate that. And we had one other Super Chat earlier that from Daniel, the guy from England, in pounds, $3.99.
Oh, $3.99, yeah.
$3.99 in pounds.
We thanked him for that, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And,
was all happening while we were talking
This
about
happened
it.
while we were on the phone with
Yeah.
Jan Schultz and Crimson Fox. So I want to mention them and say thank you. Other than that, we just really appreciate all of you being here this evening. Looking forward to our upcoming changes and additions to our schedule, our weekly schedule. More Toby and Shelley throughout the week. What's wrong with that? Right? Okay, so we can get your fix in. That's all I have.
Well, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow. Kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor.
And
Special thanks to Sassy for calling in and for all of you for being in our chat room and keeping us busy with all these great questions and comments. And for AGK Media, I'm Shelley Carney.
In the moonlight, Louisiana Saturday night. Well, you
And I'm Toby Eunice. I hope you enjoyed the night as much as we did. We know it was a bit extemporaneous and unplanned, but we feel like it was fun and productive. So, you got to be able to go with the flow, and we feel like we did tonight. So thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the softer side, and then on Sunday night at 7 p.m. for the Forrest Fenn Friday Fandango on Sunday. Okay? Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
I lost my cursor here. Okay, there we go.